Hey, everybody, we're going to get together and celebrate what is my 11th anniversary with my Tony.
Hip hip hooray!
Hey, everyone, I'm Natalie, and this is Scientology Life After a Cult. Thank you guys for being here. I see everybody in the live chat. I want to welcome you. Thank you to the members, too, for being here. I always appreciate your support. And a huge thanks to the moderators who are going to be helping out tonight. And I don't have a whole set plan. I thought I'd kind of let the chat lead to a degree. There's some things that I want to share. I'm bringing somebody on who's going to be spending this evening with us as well. And I figure, let's just see where things go, So first off, I want to introduce, you guys may have not met her. I know you've seen her in the chat. She's a very good friend of mine. And that is Sandy McKenna. And Sandy McKenna does Sins of Scientology, that podcast, which I know you guys are familiar with if you catch my recap, because we like to share when they have a new episode that comes out. So great to see you guys here. Hey, Capricious Caroline. Mama Opal, thank you for being here. Dip Me in Glitter, thank you for being here. All right, let me pull up Sandy. Hey, Sandy McKenna.
Hey Chad. Hey, everybody.
This is Sandy. Many of you may have never seen Sandy before, but you've heard her voice on Sins of Scientology. And Sandy's has become a good friend of mine. And she, knew Tony, got to meet him when we went out to Clearwater. And she's been a huge help. Many, many, many of you have been just keeping me uplifted. And Sandy's been one of my, in case of emergency, break glass phone calls. And I've utilized that a few times. And Sandy's just been it's just nice to be able to reach out, having people to reach out to. And, for different things, like I'm realizing, depending on what my need is at that time and what I'm feeling, if I need a boost, if I feel I'm trying to figure something out, it's funny, there's a certain friend I'll call. And then if Sandy's the one who helped me figure out the other day that I was kind of getting into the anger part of grief. So it just helps to have so many, friends that you can call on and people on call. And of course, all of you online, many of you who've been following my channel when I first started in December of last year, got to know my Tony. He was a moderator in the chat, and he did about 4 videos with me as well. And so you guys, I know you really got to see his personality and got to know him. And if you're new to the channel and don't know, Tony passed away from cancer after an almost 3-year battle. He passed away on June 10th. So we're just a little bit over 2 months. And just figuring it out. Let's see. I'm going to pay more attention to the chat. I don't usually get to do that because the recap goes so fast. So hello, Ma, good to see you. Thank you so much, too, for the compliment, because I feel like, I have been crying a lot. And I've got the crying eyes, but whatever, it's just that way. That's just where we're at today. I did the recap this morning, and I didn't know if I was going to do it. I had it all ready, and I had it all prepped, and I just didn't know if I could do it. And I was talking to Nancy, and she sent me this great reel that just was a really pump you up kind of reel. I forget exactly what it was. And literally, you guys, up until seconds before, I didn't think I was going to be able to do it. And then Nancy said, let's just do it. And if you're a mess, you're a mess. And I'm like, okay.
Good advice.
But I did it, and I was able to do it. Indigo Twin. Oops, what's happening here? Indigo Twin, thank you so much for that super chat. Sending love to you, Natalie. Love and light to you. Tony's light and love work through you daily. I appreciate that. And I believe that as much as this has really been a week of being angry. I was cleaning out the garage, and that brought up a lot of emotions. Just going through things that I did not think before I would have to deal with. And now I'm dealing with.
Did you ever see Terms of Endearment, the movie?
Yes, a long time ago, right? Doesn't the daughter's dying of cancer?
Yes, and she's got diabetes.
Diabetes.
But there's a part in it that really reminded me of when you said, when you called and, it was everything was, you were just pissed off.
Yeah.
And there's a part in the movie where Sally Field says, she's just angry and crying and carrying on. And then one of her friends said, here, just, push her over to Olivia Dukakis and, smack her, just smack her. You'll feel better. So,
Oh, wasn't that still Magnolias?
yeah. Oh, yes, that's it. Yes.
Yes, when Julia Roberts, the daughter, has died, and
Yes.
Sally Field is the mom,
Yes.
and she's at the cemetery. You're right, and she is just pissed and she's mad. And then
Mhm.
that's right, somebody grabs Weeza and was
Yes.
like, hit her, Malin.
You have a much better memory than me, but yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
it's one of my favorite movies. It's where I
Me
got the
too.
name for my daughter, Shelby.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, yeah. And welcome everybody doing a room raid from Club Brain Fog. Thank you so much for coming over and being here. Yeah, that's where I got my daughter's name from, was from the movie. I haven't seen it recently, but I had seen it multiple times over the years, many times. It's one of those movies you can just watch over and over and
Mhm.
over again. But I haven't watched it in a while. Good
But
one though.
it just made me think of you because of she felt that anger, and
Yeah,
that happens,
yeah. And then afterwards, a few days later, after I was done with the bulk of what I needed to do in the garage, I was driving the car and I was just thinking, okay, well, I'm not feeling so mad anymore. And then I thought, oh my gosh, it was the perfect time for me to be angry because I had so much physical work to do in that garage, to move things and move boxes and open things up and shove them on shelves. I mean, my wrists and my body still hurts from doing it. But I realized, had I not been mad, I don't know that I would have physically had the strength to do it.
Mhm.
And then I thought, oh, well played.
My house is never cleaner than when I'm in, like, somebody makes me mad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I definitely, my default, I go to cleaning and organizing, and that's what I did right after Tony died. I just I just jumped right, that was just my default. I just needed to clean and organize and make things look so different. Jersey Jan says, "I never laughed and cried so hard at the times as when I watched Still Magnolias." Girl, I agree with you so
Mhm.
much on that, and it's a reason why I've not watched it in a while. But yes, every single time, it's such
Mhm.
a good movie. Drink your juice, Shelby.
I watched it in the theater, and it was the ugly cry in the theater. It was
Yes.
embarrassing, but I think everybody else must have cried.
Yeah, everybody did. That was the thing. There was just no getting around it. Tina, thank you for the super sticker. Longtime lurker. You are so inspiring, Natalie. Love and prayers to you. I appreciate that a lot, Tina. Just figuring it out as I go. I've just kind of decided that it's just I'm using the tools. I'm reading books. I'm talking to people, and it still sucks ass. But there are moments still where, I'm finding joy in being with my family and other things that I have going on as well. It's not just nonstop. It's just on difficult days like today. Original and whether a good day or a bad day, we genuinely care for you, Natalie. Laugh, cry, be silent, grieve. You have to do the hard part, but know we all walk this path with you. I appreciate that so much. And I would agree. That's kind of how it is. I think going through any type of, just major loss like that, you just cannot do it alone. I mean, Sandy, we've had hours of conversation about this, of just, literal trust falls
Mhm.
into people. Even when we were doing when we were planning our trip to go to Clearwater
Mhm.
in April, and we were going to go out on this boat with a bunch of us. And that day, we were just seeing how Tony felt. We were waiting. This was in April. So we were waiting for the results of his full body scans to see if the cancer had been widespread. And we went out on that boat, and Tony didn't go because he just wasn't feeling well. I mean, he barely made the trip to Clearwater. I was so happy that he was able to protest that last day because that's what he wanted to do. And when we were out on the boat, I actually found out about his results because oncology happened to call. And the nurse, I thought it was weird because she was so hesitant about telling me. And I'm like, hey, I have like power of attorney of everything. You have to tell me. And that's how I found out. And I found out then that Tony had known for 2, 3 days and he told no one because he wanted us to have a good time. And I think, Sandy, I don't think there was a better place for me to be when I found that out because I was just surrounded by so much love and, all of you there. But it was shocking. It definitely was a boat
Mhm.
ride I don't think we're going to ever forget.
It
Todd was
was
there.
it was really a moment, because to know that I mean, he didn't let on not one clue. I mean, you would have never ever known hadn't you got that call. I mean, you would have known eventually, but not that day.
Yeah, would not have known. And it was so typical Tony. He knew we had things planned that we wanted to do on that trip. And one of them was to go on this boat ride, which he had wanted to go on, but just wasn't feeling up to it in that moment. And that was just so like him to make sure that, just so we could have that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was to be able to look out at the water and, being hit with such devastating news because once we found out that it had spread pretty much everywhere, you're like ultra terminal at that point. We just didn't know how long. It ended up being 10 weeks from the time that we found out until he passed. It was 10 weeks. And he had gotten in what he wanted to do. We went to Chicago to protest Scientology. We went to Clearwater to see friends and got out to do some protesting. That's the other thing that he wanted to do. It was important to him to come on and do some videos and communicate with all of you in the chat and, set up a support system for me after.
And he accomplished all of that.
Yeah. Yeah, he did. He did. You see all that here. Caddy did happy anniversary, dear Nat. You are beyond Miss Tony, but you know that. I agree. I agree. Michelle says, whenever you have a tech glitch or get tongue tied, I instantly think Tony's picking on her. I could see that. He messed with me all the time, all the time, all the time. He would, because it was affecting his brain, they suspected that the cancer had spread to his brain. He would sometimes get forgetful, be confused about where he was, but usually like that would be later in the day. In the afternoons was like his best time. And I remember once we left the doctor's office and he started going to the wrong car trying to get into it. And I said, oh no, babe, not that car. And he started laughing so hard. I swear to God, he almost killed over then. He could not breathe. He laughed so hard. He thought it was so funny that he convinced me that he was going into the wrong car, like as if he didn't know. He just had such a sense of humor. Even in the end when he was on a ventilator, when he would wake up, he could write sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes he could write. And he would write things. He wrote a couple things and I'm trying to understand it. And then he wrote, I'm trying to be funny. I'm like, you're on a ventilator knowing that you are going to, pass soon. And he was just trying to be funny. That's what he wanted to do. He was trying to be funny. Ketty did. Yeah, I'm positive he's still poking at you from the other side. I agree. No doubt, especially after I cursed him out so much in the garage when I was going through all that stuff. Mock says, eternally a prankster embracing life. That's very true. And he was just excited. He was excited to find out what happened afterwards. I had told you, Sandy, that I'd asked him before he was in the hospital, are you afraid? Are you afraid to die or are you afraid of dying? And he said, no. He was excited. He said, I'm excited to find out what happens after.
I hope he lets us know.
He said that he would, and we've had a few strange things going on, a lot with lights or his stereo from the 80s, the volume going up and down. Um, and a couple of particular lights going on that, you know, that are just kind of make me go, huh. And it never happens at night because I had told him too. I said, okay, if you find a way to communicate, just do it during the day because I don't want to get scared. And everything that's happened has been during the day.
That's good.
Yeah. Indigo Twin says, I remember missing you and Tony by 5 minutes when you were in Chicago, and I just hope that trip was everything you wanted it to be. Yep, it was. We had a really good trip. I wish we could have stayed longer. And he was such a trooper about still, getting out there and doing things even when he, I mean, you remember Sandy when we were in Clearwater, we just never knew with each activity or hanging out if he was going to be able to be there or not. And his favorite thing was hanging out at that pool.
It was. And the thing, even whenever he was present, he was 100% present.
Mhm.
He was involved in, I mean, I've never had deep conversations with anyone like I had with him. He was very, very present in his conversations and, just really thoughtful in everything that he said.
Yeah, that is so true. Once a witness, how are your children and grandchildren coping with Tony's death? They're coping with it. I don't know how much the grandchildren are fully understanding. I think Oliver understands more, being the older one. He's 6, almost 7. I'm not sure that Mina, who's 3, really understands. And, everybody's grieving and finding ways to honor his memory and, keep that memory alive. We talk about him all the time. But they're working through it, just like me. Everybody's just working through it. Gen X Drop Bear says, Tony had the best energy. Love seeing his cheeky smile during your recaps. He truly loves you, Natalie. Thank you. So true. So I loved it when he would just bust in because he would never tell me. I would just be in the middle of doing the recap and he'd be like dancing, coming by, showing the merch. Hey, Jenna. Jenna says, my 2 favorite beautiful ladies. Got to go pick up the kids from school, but wanted to send you hugs and kisses before I run out the door. Love you and thank you so much, Jenna. Go get them kids. Jamie says, I saw 2 cardinals after my mom passed. They say seeing cardinals after a loved one's passing is a good sign. It made me feel a moment of peace when I saw them. That's beautiful. We've been seeing, of all things, like owls. Did I tell you, Sandy, about the owl that flew over the car in Hawaii?
No.
When we went to go do his ashes, spread his ashes in Hawaii, it was me and his boys, their mom, and Tony's sister. And I'm driving the car, and this giant white owl comes over the front of the car, over the window, scares the living crap out of me because I'm like, what the hell is that? And I was like, because I think they're called pueas, a white owl.
Mm-hmm.
No way. I mean, you never see them. You never really see them. And the spiritual significance in Hawaii between a sighting is it's a visit from a loved one. And we saw it during the day.
Oh, there you go.
Really, that is a really odd time to have this happen. And we were all in the car together. And I thought, oh, totally has to be. I mean, there's just all my years of living in Hawaii and then going back and visiting family on the Big Island once, 2 times a year. I've never had that happen. I've never seen one. So that was super cool.
Absolutely.
That's right, Kathy, doing the Tony shimmy, which I still can't do. I can do the one shoulder shimmy. For some reason, I can't. He would kind of like do this.
I look like I'm having a seizure.
Is everybody else trying to do it too? It's just like, I can't. I just cannot do it as well. I can't. Hey, Kelly, you're doing amazing, Natalie. Hope you find a safe place to go break some shit and not have to clean it up. Oh, I'm telling you, girl, because I really wanted to break some stuff. And the only reason I didn't is because I would be the one who had to clean it up. And I wasn't sure I had goggles. That's so like I'm such a Virgo. Let's plan this out.
We should go to a Greek restaurant where we can smash the plates.
Do they let you do that in the restaurant?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
There's Greek restaurants that they do that. It's a special thing.
I heard there's places that you can go to, break rooms, to, break
Smash
stuff.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, and smash things. I mean, I wouldn't need to do it for a long time because I'd be so tired. But it does sound good.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, Mama Opal. Maybe if Natalie does her right shoulder and Sandy does her left, it'd be a good shimmy. No, we still look like we need medical aid. I've gotten pulled over 2 times for distracted driving because I was dancing in the car.
Oh.
One officer, he thought I was having a medical emergency, and I'm like, "Seriously? Come on, man, you're giving me a complex now. One time, okay, but getting pulled over for it twice is a problem."
Sometimes you just gotta do it.
Beyonce comes on or some Salt and Pepper. That's what gets me in trouble, is the music from the 80s.
Is that what you do? Like, is that what your go-to is when you're like, you just gotta pull yourself up?
Mhm. Yep. I like my 80s music.
I'm 70s.
Yeah, I love the 70s too.
Bill
Yeah.
Withers, Lovely Day.
Oh, I love that song.
Isn't that great?
SBTV Hall Monitor says there's a Wreck-It Rage room down in Savage. Oh, you know what else is in Savage is Pauhana, a restaurant that has Hawaiian food. Ooh, Wreck-It Rage room. I'm gonna look that up. Wreck-It. I'm gonna pull it up now so I don't forget. And it's in Savage. Wreck-It Rage room. I'm just gonna see. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna show this to you guys. Let's see here. I'll show you, Sandy. Hold on. Is it that one? Is it that one? There we go. Yeah, can you see it? Wreck-It Rage room.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Affirmation station. Oh my God, you get to. I should bring them.
You smash.
Yeah, welcome to Wreck-It Rage Room, Minnesota's premier rage-filled entertainment destination. Unleash your inner fury as you smash, shout, and cheer your way to relaxation. Browse our Smashables gallery to pick what speaks to you, and then let loose in your own rage room while you jam out to your favorite tunes. Oh my God, take my money, take my money, take my money.
That's
Leave the cleanup to us.
Oh, that's a win-win-win.
This is. So let's see. Sunday, they're open 11 to 6. Saturday, 11 to 9. I wonder how much it costs.
Doesn't say.
Oh, here, packages and pricing. Smash it. $120, up to 25 minutes, 2 participants, 55 assorted items. Oh, it even tells you what you're going to smash. Get your playlist together, wrecking tools, protective gear. Wreck-It 215. I don't think I could do this for 45 minutes.
No, I couldn't. I'm too old. I'll wrench out my back.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to need a doctor after that.
Mm-hmm.
Destroy it. Add 2 extra participants. I'd be paranoid about somebody accidentally hitting something and it gets me.
Yeah, or them hitting, a bat flying. No, I couldn't with that.
Private events. Maybe this is what I should do for my birthday.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah. You can go up to 15 people. Or no, you could do more than that. But that gets ridiculous on the price. But
bats, yeah.
Yeah, but the 25 minutes, I'm like, yeah, I could see doing.
That's good. You get enough of it, you get your anger out, and go out to dinner.
Yeah, and then go to Pauhana.
Mm-hmm.
I should get Kelsey to do it with me. That would be awesome.
That would be fun.
That really sounds like right up my alley. That's like right now, I would love to break some stuff. I think that'd be great. I know Capricious Caroline about that. I mean, I even have some of that stuff, but there's nowhere to break it that really would be safe and not have glass flying anywhere. And part of it is not having to clean it up. So that's kind of my deal there, is I don't want to have to clean it up. I've never done this before. Gen X Drop Bear, I love it. Wreck Rage Room, I want to come with you. Are you local? Ah, yes, yes, yes. Kim is Blue says, "Oh yes, me too with 80s music in the car." Yeah. Yeah, get that distracted driving. Bert and Ernie's Adventures. I want Natalie to know that Tony helps me every day. He's teaching me how to die, not in a bad way, and it's complicated.
Oh,
Totally get it, Bert and Ernie's adventure. And however he is able to, help you, that sounds fabulous. And whatever's going on, I hope it's the best possible way that it happens. That's kind of like for us. Someone saying, Penelope, are you really here in Minnesota? Me? Yeah, I'm in the Twin Cities. Unless you met somebody else. Bert and Ernie says, I regret not telling him as I was a lurker. Oh no, I feel like he knows. I have no idea what happens after we die. I just feel like he knows. There's a lot of things I think about that I think he knows. Thank you, the real sassafras. Aloha Friday, Natalie from One Kamina to Assista. Thank you. It is Aloha Friday. And Min Candy, thank you so much for being a member for a month. I appreciate that. Happy 11th anniversary. My hubby and I celebrated our 11th anniversary back in July. Natalie, you inspire me in so many ways, sending peace and love. I appreciate that. I am just on here figuring this stuff out as we go along, like in real time. Often, too, with all of the Scientology stuff, I'm 14 years out and I've come so far, and Tony was such a huge part of my healing from Scientology. Um, I think that's one of the big things is I know that I'll be okay and I'll continue to get better, but it's just so weird to do it without him. He really was there from the beginning. It was 2 years after I got out of Scientology is when I met him. Something, was it 2 years or a year? No, it was after my mom died, so it was 2 years. But he prepared me for so much that, and well before we knew that he was sick and that he was dying, he knew what my life had been like, and he had a whole plan on how to introduce me to new things and to have new experiences and to find fun and joy and just do things because they feel good and it's enjoyable, not only do things because it creates a product or it has something to do with work. which was my leaning, Sandy. I've talked to you about a lot about that too.
and as never being in a cult, it's not something that we would think of because I mean the purpose of to live is to enjoy your life
Yeah.
and not do it. Some days you just have to, just do it because it's fun, not because
Yeah.
you're going to get anything out of it. And that was a great lesson from him.
Yeah. A huge lesson that took me a very long time to learn. And I still have to remind myself that sometimes doing something just because, like just walking on the grass or laying in the grass for no other reason than it's enjoyable. Hey, Liz Gale, hugs to you, girl. Thank you so much for being here. I always like chatting with Liz.
Mm-hmm.
J Bat says, happy anniversary, Nat and Tony. I'm glad you're sharing your day with us. Me too. I thought today, like, I was anticipating having a rough day, and I have had a rough day, but it actually hit me yesterday. And it really annoys me that my grief doesn't keep the schedule that I have set for it. Because it was yesterday from when I did my morning recap, like right at the end of that. And then it was just such a hard day. And then, this morning, which today is the day, our anniversary, was just, it kind of felt like going back to that first week, when he died, just it being so, having that grief be so intense. And I'm grateful that over the last 2 months I've had times where it's very intense, but a lot of times where there's so much joy and even excitement, and I can feel him being excited because I'm doing things that we talked about that I would do, even traveling, going to meet people in the community and share their stories here on YouTube, which I'm going to do starting next week. we talked about all of that, and we were both so excited about it for me, and I'm so thankful that we did, because it's like now that I'm doing some of those things, I feel like I'm still like he knows,
Mm-hmm.
and I could just feel that excitement. Definitely. Cubana Chica says, I love that Tony always greeted me in Spanish. That's always good. Except sometimes he would greet people in Spanish who were not Spanish speaking. Then it got awkward. But he meant well. He always meant well.
His heart was in the right place.
It was Gen X Drop Bear. Totally here for you. You've helped me this year so much. I was caring for my mom when you started your channel. You kept me grounded. I have so much appreciation for your life lessons. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you. And I'm glad. That makes me so happy. I never counted on that. I knew that doing a channel on YouTube and exposing Scientology would provide something that was needed, because Scientology needs to end. And other cults need to end. People need to be educated to the degree that they'll never fall for it, that they'll see it for what it is. And I've heard from so many people in what they get out of it as well. And that's something I did not expect, and has truly become one of my favorite things, truly. NH Carol, thank you so much for the big hug. Capricious Caroline, I've never heard of any man who takes his dying days not just living, but preparing his wife to be okay when he's gone. No wonder God took him back. I appreciate that. Tony and I were not actually married. We didn't want to. We had both been married before, and thought it would be so fun to just keep showing up every day, and not because we were legally obligated to. And we just never did. We never got married. But today would have been our 11th anniversary. Joe says, well, Tony did a great job showing you love, respect, kindness, and now you are an independent woman, and he has shown you the ways you probably haven't realized till now. That is very, very, very true. He always saw something more in me than I saw in myself. And with so much of his encouragement in the beginning of our relationship, I went on to do things just I never thought I would be doing or could be doing. And he just always just pushed me in the direction of wherever I wanted to go, and convinced me that I could do it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm doing it. Yeah, exactly. Let's see. KA says, my niece has been battling stage 4 now for 3 years. She's been staying positive and living life to the fullest, traveling and family and friends, always smiling. She is in her 40s.
Wow.
Wow, that is such an inspiration. It is so huge. And that is a beautiful thing, because sometimes we can't change the fact of what is going to happen. It's going to end in one way, but we can change how we decide to show up for that each day. And it sounds like your niece is nailing it, truly nailing it. Amber says, I also enjoyed when Tony would jump behind Natalie and start dancing. Me too. And he did it all the time, even at home. I'd be at the sink, then a song would come on, and I'd feel him back there with the shimmy. It was fantastic. I love the spontaneity that he had. Heather Mack says, Natalie, glad to be here for you. Grief gives you a break in life to heal a little bit more. That is true. That is true. Justine, did he ever do something special for your anniversary the day before? I think that's why you felt it hard yesterday. The interesting thing is, when it came to birthdays and even anniversaries, there wasn't anything that we did too crazy and out of the norm, because we both felt that it should be like that all the time. So if we wanted to surprise each other with something, we did. If we wanted to go somewhere and eat somewhere, we did. If we wanted to celebrate, we did. So we never felt the need to always do something specifically on that day. Why not make it always like we're celebrating something? And I like that. I absolutely like that. So nothing set, but it always was a moving target. Liz Gale says he'll be your angel cheerleader for the rest of your life, I think. I think so too. I can hear him a lot of times cheering me on. Absolutely can. Caddy did. Grief is never convenient. The stupidest thing set me off. Oh, I get that. I get that. Yeah, and that's when I call Sandy, or earlier, was it today or yesterday? I think, well, yesterday I had called Jenna, and I was like, "This is a 911 call." She's so great. She's like, "Okay, what's happening?" And after 20 minutes or so, I felt so much better, so much better. Kim is blue, Odin is doing better. He is. He's playing with toys again. He's not crying all the time like he was. Definitely. Let's see. Katie says, "Your sharing helps us all. My son will forever be 26 or 25, 824. He has been resting now for 1.5 years. I am
Oh,
so sorry for your loss, Kate. And thank you for being here and continuing to smile and show up. It's those stories are what inspire me as well, including Sandy, who, Sandy lost her daughter some years ago. And that's part of why I look at Sandy and go, okay, Sandy's still showing up. And Sandy suffered a loss that is really the most horrific loss imaginable for most of us who have children. And that's why I appreciate you so much, Sandy, because you really helped show me how you can still have joy, and I don't know, in a way it's like you're still sharing it with that person.
yeah, I think that's how you honor somebody's memory. It's not easy. And there are days that, even to this day, that, and I lost my daughter in between my parents in a very short span of time. So it was like all of a sudden my entire, immediate family was wiped out. And it was shocking and devastating and really hard. And the first year, Nat, is the hardest because everything is a first. It's the first anniversary, the first birthday, the first Christmas and Thanksgiving. But that's where your friends help you,
Mhm.
because it's when, if somebody said, asks, are you married? Or like in my case, do you have children? And I literally couldn't speak because it just catches you off guard.
Yeah.
And you have your friends and they'll say, no, she had a daughter, when I can't like spit it
Yeah.
out, you know?
No, I totally get that. I totally get that. I realize too that I don't have to tell every person I see what happened,
Mhm.
and it's telling people that he's gone is what is still so really hard. And, but someone pointed out to me, it's like, "Well, you actually don't need to tell people that," because I was saying like, "Oh, they're gonna come and pick up the household trash and the wood that was outside, and, what do I tell them?" And someone I was with said, "Well, why do you have to tell them anything? They're just coming to get the garbage. Just tell them you're downsizing." And I went, "Oh." Because till then, it had just been like, if anybody asked me anything, I mean, I had cried and broken down at the post office. Um, because the post office had seen so many cards, when Tony was sick, that we're getting so many cards and so many gifts, and they were like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, and so I would explain to them, and then, they became condolence cards, and which was still great and beautiful, and I appreciate them so much. So, but yeah, I could tell they knew, there was just a change, and I hadn't been there in a little while. And, and so I told them. But like I said, I've come to learn that I can also, not tell people if I don't want to. It's just, I don't know, it just starts screaming in my head, but, sometimes I don't wanna cry in public.
Mhm.
I'd like to just go get dog food and not lose it because it's under his name, stuff like
Mhm.
that, everything, those little things that you have to switch over, that you have to, keep track of. Those are the things that just, like, get me. Michelle, thank you so much for that super sticker. Sending you a TikTok short to you in Messenger I found this morning and instantly thought of Tony. Happy anniversary, Tony and Natalie. Hugs. Michelle, I appreciate that, and I look forward to seeing it. Let's see. I'm going to grab a couple questions we had here. I did that one. I did that one. I did that one. Jamie says, oh no, grief pops up out of nowhere. It won't work on your schedule. You kind of have to work around it. Just allow yourself to feel it all and lean on whoever you need to in those moments. Oh, that is so true. That's why I have my list of people on speed dial, including Kelly Copter. Hey, Kelly, I'm sending you all the love. Oh, I appreciate that, Kelly, and I cannot wait to see you again. I'm talking about going back to Clearwater next month, and it makes me miss you even more because that's where we were when Tony and I went to Clearwater. Kelly had come as well. Um, we knew that that would be kind of the one shot we had for Tony to be able to go, and it was kind of last minute, and we just decided to do it. And thank you to everybody, including Sandy, who helped make that happen and brought people together because it was a lot of fun.
We do need to get the gang back together.
We do, Kelly. We need you to come back here. I don't know that I can wait until next year because we talked about doing a road trip next year, or maybe we need to go to you, Sandy. I
Oh,
need to get
I'm
my
in.
passport. Is your passport current?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I need to renew my passport so we can go see Kelly Copter.
All right, let's plan it.
Hey, Windy City Thetan Watch. Hey, Natalie and Sandy. Good to see you there, Paul. Autumn Clark says, I don't comment much at all, but I always listen. You're an inspiration to all. My dad was just diagnosed with cancer 2 weeks ago. For the doctor appointment to see maybe you're waiting for the doctor appointment to see which direction he will take. Autumn, yeah, it's rough. Educate yourself the best that you can. Chat GPT is your friend. I took every doctor's report task that I would get off of his chart and ran it through Chat GPT and asked it to explain it to me in a way that I could understand it. And then I would verify it with the doctor, at least by the time, because these days, these test results show up in your My Chart or your patient portal prior to speaking to your doctor. So if you can understand the report to a degree, and I would even ask Chat GPT to tell me the questions I should be asking because it's so much of it. Yeah, it's overwhelming. You're shocked. You're just shocked because you know what it means for, you know what it's going to mean. And it's hard to think of those questions. And I love that tool. I keep saying Chat GPT is like my best friend.
Mhm.
Penelope, no, Tony was not in Scientology, not ever. I met him after I had left Scientology. He is only one of 2 men that I've ever dated outside of Scientology. And I can guarantee you that if I ever date again, they will not be Scientologists.
I would hope not.
Right, I know, exactly. Liz Gale says, Eek, I'm jealous, have the best trip. Well, we don't have it planned, but it all starts with the thought and the idea. And
Mhm.
I feel like that's great motivation. And to have a travel buddy as well, I think would be great. Let's see. Mock says, grief has this persistent bad habit of sucky timing on the surface, and it's not as much easier to know it's coming as it rationally seems. Yeah, you are so right. I am definitely learning that. One to witness, Natalie, did Tony know about Scientology before he met you? He did not. He knew very little because Tony and I, over years, were always within blocks of each other and we never met. When I was in the Sea Org in Los Angeles, he was blocks away doing his job where he worked there. He would come to California, come to LA for like a week, a month, and then go back to Minnesota. When I was in Seattle working for Scientology, same thing. He wasn't far. In the Twin Cities, when I was a Scientologist, he was working just down the street from the org. We could have crossed each other on the sidewalk, and we lived in very close to each other. We probably lived within 2 miles of each other. We went to the same restaurant, to Yumi's, which was our favorite restaurant, and we never saw each other. Somehow we never met for years, and probably a good thing because we were both married to other people at the time. And then when it was okay and appropriate for us to meet, we did, and we met at a baby shower at his neighbor's house, who was a friend of mine, and I happened to be there, and he happened to be there, and there you go.
Sounds like a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, really. No, kind of in the beginning, in the way we met, it did. It did. I saw him and his boys there, And there was just something about him. I just felt so drawn to him, which was unusual for me. Because I can appreciate an attractive person, but I'm, like that. I'm like, okay. But there was just something about him, and it wasn't just his looks. There was just something about him. And I just had to get my hands on him. So I invited him over to come take a picture when we were at the party so I could put my hand around him to just see, like, what is this? And there was just definitely something. And then I thought, well, maybe it's just like a physical attraction. That's fine too. And a week later, my friend and I who lived there, we went next door to his house to go see if he was going out on his boat. We invited ourselves over and we went out on his boat. And from that night on, him and I were together, and until we were not. And that would be, and that's what I count it from, because that's like, was it a week after? It was a week after we met. We went out on the boat, and that's when we had our first kiss. And that was on, August 16th, 11 years ago. And we'd been together ever since. I mean, we were together every day for the most part. Not always every day because of kids' schedules and things, until it was another year before we would move in together. Oh, interesting. Thunder Age. The white owl is also called a snowy owl. They mean change, transformation, and inner wisdom. Well, that's awesome because I could use all of those things. Let's see. One to witness. Was Tony 100% Greek? Did he go to Greece? He was not. He was half Irish and half Greek, or Macedonian to be more specific. And he did. He actually lived in Greece for several months. He lived in Europe for, I think, about 2 years when he was younger. And he loved it. Let's see. Yep, Joe, he did. He had a very calming nature. Yeah, he could be a calming influence. He could also freak out at times, but that would usually be around his own. He could be so calm for everybody else, and what, like if it was something I was going through, but his own thing, it was different. And then I guess I tried to be the calming person. Bert and Ernie, are you planning to come to Denver? I don't have any set plans, but I want to. I do. I've never been out of the airport there in Colorado or Denver, and I'd like to. I know next week I'm going to head somewhere. September, I'm going to Clearwater. October, I'm working out. But I would like to do that. And Denver would be good because wherever I go, I want it to be close to where Scientology org is. Because what I want to do is I want to sit down and interview the people there who are live streaming or doing YouTube, just some behind the scenes, just really meet these people out in the wild. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be fun. And then Sandy and I we'll have to plan a road trip at some point, don't you think?
I'm in.
I think it should be. I think it'd be fun. A good time. Amber says, I found out that I had a great aunt that lived a few blocks away from Big Blue, the pack base. I could have gotten to know her, and maybe she would have taken me in. Oh, that's interesting that you had a great aunt there. Maybe, but you got out. You got out and you created your own life, Amber, and it is absolutely amazing and impressive what you've done. Absolutely. Let's see. Bodil. Let's just say Bodhi. Europe is tiny. You can make a tour from Stockholm to Schweiz. That is true. That is true. We could probably do a few things. They have trains there. That definitely would be one to plan. That would take some good planning. Yes, Lori plays. I'm coming to Clearwater. Tony was an amazing cook. He did all of the cooking because he was just a million times better at it than I was. Was Sandy in Scientology?
I was not, but I lived around it for 40 years. So that was my introduction to it.
That's amazing. To just see it all from the outside that way.
Yeah. Well, we used to say, don't look in their eyes. I mean, seriously, because I lived in Clearwater when Scientology first moved in, and
Yeah.
it was, oh, they believe in space and all this weird stuff, and so we just said, don't look in their eyes because I don't want to be one. We knew. I don't know how we knew right from the beginning that it was a cult, but we did.
Wow. And that was a thing, like, don't look into their eyes, 'cause it did local people think, like, that's how you got recruited?
And I don't know. I was young at the time, so I was an idiot, but
That's true. It's so fascinating to me, the viewpoint of someone never in Scientology around a place like Flag. Even when we were there with Tony and he was walking through and seeing the empty, their front group offices that were empty but really nice inside. And I remember him commenting like how it's like North Korea, how odd all of this looks, all of this opulence in ways, especially when you get around the Fort Harrison and the superpower building. And for what? Who really actually gets to enjoy it? I mean, just really, who does? Donna, happy anniversary, Natalie and Tony. I know you can hear me, Tony. I have a very big mouth. LOL. I love you, Natalie. Thank you, Donna. Thank you so much for that. I bet he can too, truly. And I'm sure it's sometimes I wonder, just because I don't know what happens for sure, like what happens after we're gone? Or do you stay in one place? Of course, in Scientology, they say you go to the implant station and, you get wiped and all that. And I do not think that that is the case. But I don't know. Sometimes it feels like he's everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And that's the only way I can think to explain it. I felt him strongly in Hawaii, and it felt that way, like he was just everywhere, but not there. And that's the best way I could think to explain it. Safari Dream says, Natalie, besides the I love you and I miss you, is there one thing you would want to say to Tony right now? His light is shining bright. I miss his hugs. That man could hug like nobody's business, just as something as simple as just a hug. It was so strong. Even when he was in the hospital and I said my last goodbye before we took him off the ventilator, and I was like laying kind of on top. I had to be careful with I got myself into that bed. And he was just stroking my back and holding on to me. And he couldn't as strongly as he normally did, but it was still strong because it's all, I think, that, intention, and you feel it. But I miss that. I try to hug everybody now, just like maybe 100 hugs will replace one from him. I don't know how my mailman keeps feeling about it. And I'm not hugging strangers in the grocery store anymore. But I think that is a big thing for me, of all the things. Just nobody could hug like he could. And other people would say that too. It wasn't just me. I mean, I think I got the best hugs because there didn't need to be any space between us, but there was just so much love in that embrace from him. Let's see. Original Land. Oh my God, now I'm crying. Yeah, we're just gonna cry on and off. We're gonna laugh. We're gonna cry.
I know. I thought I'm the worst person for you to have on a day like this because I'm like, I feel other people's pain, and I'm like, how do I keep it so I'm not sobbing worse than you are?
You gotta like put up a wall. See, Juanita knows. That is so true. His hugs were so special. That's right. Juanita got some hugs when we were out in Chicago. Oh, thank you, Liz. I talked to Liz Gale the other day. It's just, it's just something I feel like it's just going to be as we work through things. And I'm so grateful that, like I was saying earlier, he and I had so many conversations about what would happen after. and wanting me to, get busy again with YouTube because this is what really makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And, going out and seeing people, and like I said, interviewing some people around the country, and eventually even we go see Kelly Copter. Um, I just really want to do that. And I know I'm interested in hearing these stories. I want to know behind the scenes where these people are, what they're doing, what, in their environment. And thank you so much for that incredibly generous super chat. Sending you some love today, Natalie. I can't ever forget the story of Tony with a Speedo cruising the neighborhood. Makes me laugh so hard. Surfing with the dolphins and whales between visits to you and kids now for spirit hugs. That's right. And you know what? I found the Speedo, and for now I'm keeping it. I was going through some of his stuff, and I think I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I think this is actually the original one that he had," and I
Oh, he
found
had more than one?
yeah, he had more than one. And it was the shorts kind, but they were still real tight
Mhm.
and low. And, yeah, just standing in front of the house wearing it, playing basketball with the boys as their boys' friends' moms were coming to pick them up. The kids were mortified,
Okay.
just beyond mortified.
Okay, can you excuse me for 1 second?
Not go ahead. I'll go through the chat.
No, it's good.
Here, we'll just mute her mic too there. Donna. Oh, Donna, thank you for being a member for 2 months. Natalie, it's my mom, Elise's birthday. I'm sure she showed Tony around heaven where he can look down and look out for you till you see him again. Ah, thank you, Donna. That's such a great thought. I love that. I absolutely love that. Dee Marie, great question. Is this the first time you can honor someone's passing? Because in Scientology, we really are not given the opportunity. You're supposed to just get over it. It just made me remember when I was talking to Jenna this morning, that's something I told her. I said, I'm struggling because there's this part of me that feels like I should be over it because it's been over 2 months. And anybody outside of Scientology would hear that and think, no, that is no. That no, you don't get over it, and definitely not in 2 months. What you're feeling is perfectly normal. But because we were never allowed to feel and process those emotions, I never knew how long it was actually supposed to take, but I did lose my mother 2 years after leaving Scientology. And I was able to process that more, but I don't think I processed it in at that time as well in the ways that I'm able to process this, if that makes sense, because I just understand so much more. Sandy, I'm going to leave you on this screen while I just go blow my nose.
Okay. Well, I see. What is it, Liz? About the Speedo? I said frame it. I can't read because it's going so fast. Good Lord, heavens to Betsy. Oh, happy birthday, Melissa, to your grandma.
Okay. Yeah, I slowed it down here.
Oh, Liz says frame the Speedo.
Oh, it's actually not a bad idea. That could be kind of fun. Hey, Robin, thank you so much. Thank you for that. Did your parents love Tony? Well, my mom died before I met Tony, but she would have loved him. My father loved Tony. My dad, and this is my biological dad, he was never in Scientology. My dad would call Tony more than he would call me. They had a special relationship, and unfortunately, my dad died 10 weeks before Tony did. My dad died when we found out that it was. I'll never forget because it was April 1st when we first found out it spread to his liver, which was bad enough. And then when we went to Clearwater a few weeks later, we found out it had spread everywhere. And April 1st, we found out that it had spread to his liver. And that day, my dad had a massive heart attack in Hawaii and he died overnight. And so he never knew. He knew that, Tony had been battling, but that as far as he knew, Tony was doing all right. And the idea of those two together doing whatever, wherever, really makes me kind of laugh and giggle because they were like two kids and they just adored each other. Tony helped me understand my father more. My dad struggled with addiction issues over the years, and I don't know, Tony helped me be able to appreciate the parts of my dad that were still my dad. My dad was an amazing waterman in Hawaii and lifeguard, and he saved over 1,500 people and has an incredible record as a lifeguard. And that was something that I realized, when you have addiction, when somebody struggles with addiction, they're not making a choice. He's not choosing drugs over his children. It's an addiction. And when I was younger, when I was a kid, I didn't understand how he could put his life on the line for so many people, but not come see his kids. And Tony helped me understand that as I came to understand addiction more and see that, it wasn't a choice. And in a way, it's one of the only things my dad could do. And he was willing to put his life on the line so much because of the guilt that he felt being a father or not being a father for his children. And it really drove him when he was out, working, when he was a lifeguard. And I mean, not many people can say that they saved that many people, like literally saved their life by risking their own. And it brought me a lot of peace with my dad when he was alive. And really gave me an opportunity to spend time with him, and so much of that was through Tony because it was different when we'd be all of us together, and like I said, my dad just loved him so much. He absolutely did. Absolutely did. Like I said, called him more than he called me. Kathy says, "If I ever get to see you in person, sweetheart, I'll give you a big hug. I'm a card-carrying hug therapist." Kathy, is that really a thing? That is kinda cool. That is kinda cool. Hey, Miss Sunrise Dawn, and hey, Casey Cat, good to see you here. You were watching the morning stream. Well, I hope you go back and finish that as well. Janie, sending as many hugs and your heart can hold, Natalie. My heart can hold a lot of hugs, so keep them coming. And yep, Caroline, I think we are gonna frame that Speedo. I mean, how do you not? How do you not, right, Liz? It just seems like there were two of them. I should frame one and give. Oh, me and Tess says we need pictures. I will take a picture of it. I will. You guys got to see it. I think I even have a picture of him in it. Bert and Ernie's adventures. I would love to tell you how much all of this has helped me. I'm so glad. That makes me so happy. Oh, Joe says that we call Speedos budgie smugglers here in Scotland. Budgie smugglers. Did you know that, Sandy?
I had no idea.
I did not know that. And other people are backing it up. Mock, you're right. You're right. The Europeans are comfortable with that. They were like all about the Speedo. He said then he didn't like the way regular shorts held water and the way the air would open in them. He just liked the way that it fit. Liz Gale says, I said frame it too at the time. At the same time, it's a sign. It's got to be done. Frame this Speedo. I will. I absolutely will. Melissa, happy birthday to your grandma. You buy her favorite pink roses in her honor. That is
Oh,
so cool. I am going, I think not next week, the week after. Did I tell you about my tattoo, Sandy?
no.
I'm going to get
You're
a tattoo.
full of news tonight.
Yes. I'm going to get a tattoo. So I have my Live Aloha on this side. Oh my gosh, how do you see it there? Can you see it there? It says
Mhm.
Live Aloha. And then on the other side, I was going to put the coordinates for where we did his ashes in the ocean
I
because you
think
can,
that's brilliant.
yeah, and right on the other side. Then they kind of balance each other out, and I thought that would be kind of cool, so that when my time comes, and all my kids got to do is like check the arm and put in the coordinates and dump my ashes right there. That would be a good. I think that would be a good way to do it. Philosophy, it's so abusive to tell people not to grieve. It's a process that we all need to go through. Absolutely. I remember being in the sea organization and having my grandma die and not processing that at all. Um, it's the craziest thing. And you don't, it comes out sideways. It comes out somewhere. And that's what I've come to learn over a lifetime of either being in Scientology or recovering from Scientology. It's going to come out somewhere. So you best be processing it the best that you can and trying to grow and find other tools to replace the tools that didn't serve you before. Because one big learning thing for me was realizing that it's all great and dandy to dump Scientology and all of the ways and all of the indoctrination. But if you don't have another solution, if you don't have other tools, well, then what do? It's too easy to go back to your default of what you did because you only ever knew it one way. So, what has helped me so much is learning different ways to deal and to cope, different, just all of those different tools. I found that to be helpful. Arkansas Flamingo, thank you for being a member for 2 months. I appreciate that. And if anyone else wants to be a member and support the channel that way, there is a link in the description of, you know what, I don't know if it's in this video, but if not, I will put it there. But you can also go on the channel and there's a join button. And yes, there are some new member icons. I'm learning how to do the emojis. And there's a member only video that I'm going to try to do each week as well. And even do something with some of the members. When I was talking to Relatable Reese, actually, it was Sandy McKenna's idea to take your top tier of, like your membership levels and like do a Zoom call, do like a brunch or something like that. I thought that would be fun because then I can see people. And yeah, Reese was telling me about that. And I'm like, that's right. And then she said on her stream that, that was Sandy's idea. So I'm taking your idea too, Sandy.
Good.
Wait, did I read that for Anne? Yep, I did. But yeah, you're right. You never get over it. You just get used to it. A friend told me that after she lost her husband, I found it comforting. Love you, dear Natalie. I appreciate that, Arkansas Flamingo. Yeah, that's true. It's like you move with it and it moves with you. He's always going to be a part of my life to some degree. And it just, you move forward almost together in a way. And that's why I just keep feeling this incredible gratitude for the time that I had with him because not many people had that. And our relationship wasn't perfect. It wasn't without any ups and downs. We're human people, but it was special to be loved that way. And I'm so grateful for that because it really taught me how I should be loved and nothing less than that, the same or more. And the biggest thing too is he helped show me how to love myself that way, how to appreciate myself and care enough about myself to show up in the world in ways that are gonna, in ways that are healthy for me and not just about an organization or other people. For the first time in my life right now, I'm an empty nester and I don't have my partner. It's just, I was married at 17 in the Sea Org. I had my first child at 19. I was a single mom with 2 kids for about 5 years, and I married my other husband, and I've just never been on my own that way. I've been on my own, but with children. Even after my divorce and I moved out, one of my kids, finished college, and so Shelby came back home and lived with me for a while. And then after a while, then I was living with Tony and his kids. And although right now, many of you might not know, I shared this on a members video because we talk about a lot of behind the scenes stuff on the members content. But my daughter and Oliver have moved in with me, and that has just been fantastic. It's been great. It's been wonderful. Oliver's only here half the time because he also lives with his dad half the time. But it's just been a beautiful thing. It really has. And I'm realizing that it's a good time for it. She's going through her own life changes, I'm going through mine, and we can help each other in so many ways. And it's nice having somebody there, but then also not always there.
And somebody who cooks.
Yes, yes. Although I have to say, Kelsey has not really been doing any cooking, but she's good at it. It's just been crazy just trying to even make room for them in the house. It's given me a reason to go through and pack up some of Tony's things to make room for them. So then I'm doing it not because It's just such a sad thing, but I'm also excited to make room for them. It just makes those things easier. It really does. Let's see. Oh, thank you so much, Dr. MLS. I learned so many lessons from you both and Tony. I love that. Philosophy. Well, I really relate to what Natalie said. I never understood how my dad could be so kind and compassionate to his parents and not us. Yeah. Eva, my mom's an alcoholic. I call that soul cancer. True. I get that. I really get that. Let's see. I'm going to catch up here. Oh, look at that. Bert and Ernie Adventures became a new member. Hip, hip, hooray. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Let's see. Me and Taz says, Natalie, when you get that tattoo, put underneath the coordinates is my Tony. Hashtag my Tony. I like the idea of nobody knowing what it is.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about that where it's just mine, and then my family knows, and if somebody wants to ask, but I just like having that piece, having that, for me. We'll see. I was thinking of maybe adding a plumeria or a yellow flower because yellow was his favorite color. Definitely. Gen X Drop Bear says, I'm spreading my mom's ashes next month for our birthdays. It'll be the first one without her. As I said before, you have helped me so much this year. Big Dropper Bear hugs. I appreciate that. Yeah, and it sounds weird to say enjoy it, but enjoy it. Just take in everything, the way the air feels, the way that it smells. I tried to do that when we were out in the ocean scattering Tony's ashes. We each did a little bit, and then I did the bulk of it at the end. And it just was so beautiful. And we were all covered in Tony. Because we used our hands, and I pulled my hand out. I'm like, well, okay. What do you do? Put it over the ship.
Oh.
Let's see. Jersey, Natalie, did you ever try journaling to help get your feelings out? You can then use that as a starting point for your book. Hint, hint, hint. Thank you for the hint. I am horrible. I was supposed to start writing this book. I was supposed to do 2,000 words last week, and I did not. And I need you guys to continue to remind me because I really do want to get it done and make it available to all of you. And you're right, Jersey Jan. That is a great way to do it, to be journaling. Absolutely. Kathy O'Toole says, my brother passed from pancreatic cancer. His wife recently remarried, but she and her new husband still celebrate my brother in their home.
Wow.
That is a beautiful thing. And I think that is amazing. That is amazing. And I don't see how you can love somebody who lost somebody without loving the person that they lost.
Mm-hmm.
It just, I think it can be a shared experience. But what a beautiful thing to be able to share in. And I have a couple of friends where it's a similar thing. They lost their husbands, and their new partners are, supportive of that and understand that and the need to recognize certain dates still. I love that. Yep. Dip me in glitter. Never stop sharing the love and kindness. Absolutely. That's just so much of it. Cats hate cults. Every time I see that, I just love it. Thank you so much for gifting 5 Scientology Life After a Cult memberships. I appreciate that so much. And I love your name. It is the best. Cats hate cults. You know it too. You know cats hate cults. They totally do. They probably secretly have their own cult, but yeah, they like it. Yellow plumeria sounds beautiful. Do they come in that color? Yep, yellow and white.
Mm-hmm.
It has a little bit of yellow and white, and there are some that are more yellow as well. I have to talk to the tattoo artist. I think I'm doing it. Maybe I'll live stream it because I'm doing it, I think, next week. What is today? Oh, yeah, next week. I'm doing it next week. I don't know where yet. Let's see. I love seeing people get the donated memberships. That's so cool. I absolutely love that. Philosophy. I always think of the line from John Lennon, always the song Mind Games. Love is the answer, and you know that for sure. Yeah. God, he made some great music, some great ones. Yeah, original and live stream it. I'm sure the guy won't mind, and it's not like it's a tattoo that'll take a long time, but I think that kinda be fun.
Mhm.
You guys sit in on that? We'll have to get Sandy, do you have any tattoos?
I don't.
Would you ever get a tattoo?
I might. I still have my daughter's ashes, so I could always do something similar to you. I mean, I don't know, I don't need like, a, falcon on my chest or anything like that.
I know it's fun. You kinda especially when you're going through, a loss or grief and you get these ideas and things to memorialize, but you also need those friends there to reel you in when it's like, maybe a face tattoo is not the way to go.
My granddaughter took a greeting card she had gotten from my mom, and it says "Love Graham," and so she has my mom's signature on her arm.
That is cool. I like that. That's fun, especially from your grandma.
Hmm.
That is really cool. Mock says you can even mix gold as a tattoo color. I got a river of gold on my back that is a mix of yellows.
Mm.
Oh, wow. That is cool. Huh. That's true. It could be in the flower. I don't know if the tattoo artist that's doing it is he comes to town once in a while and he specializes in Polynesian tattoos. So I know he could totally do a plumeria or a flower like that. Absolutely. Absolutely. Nico Yeg says many more tattoos. You need many more. 6 is not enough. My sister's got a lot of tattoos. If you guys have seen Lana and my daughter Kelsey, same thing. They have like tattoos on their arms. I think Lana's even getting a sleeve while this guy's in town. Julie said, my mom got her tattoo for her 50th birthday, but I was too broke to get one for my 50th, maybe for 55. What would you get though, Julie? Your mom got it. What did your mom get? And what would you get for your 50th? I'm curious. Uh, and then we got to think of what kind of tattoo Sandy should get.
No falcons.
No falcons. No falcons against across the chest. No falcons. No. Oh my goodness. Kathy O'Toole says, Sandy, I love you, Ray, in my brother's handwriting on my truck.
Oh, that's nice.
That is really cool. Ah, to put on the truck like that. That would be cool. Juanita, you had tattoos? Yeah. It is amazing. There's so many different ways to, memorialize an occasion, or some people will even do them when they get married or when they turn 21, or just to mark different occasions, the birth of a child, sometimes even the death of a child. I think it's interesting how, tattoos tell so much of a story more than I think we sometimes realize. We just see the
Mhm.
surface of it, but don't always know the meaning behind it. And I like to ask people, what was that for? What does that mean? Tell me about this. Can I touch it? And then they're like, do you want sugar with your iced tea, ma'am? That's all I was asking. Really got to stop touching things. I'm always just like, can I touch it?
When I was producing television segments, like lifestyle segments, we did a segment on tattoo etiquette.
Oh,
And so, whoever thought that there was a tattoo etiquette? But what you're supposed to say is, "I really love your art." Like, what does it signify? Or
yeah,
you're
yeah.
not supposed to touch.
Yeah, I know. I must learn like in a tactile way because I just want to touch it. And even if it's people, I just feel like I can understand you better if I can touch you. And that's what happened with Tony. I just knew like I could make sense of what I feel like I'm feeling here if I could just touch you, but it's not for everyone.
No,
My
that's
kids
not
don't.
something you could do in Scientology, right? You couldn't go around touching people.
No, it would be weird. It would be like, why are you doing that? What do you, like even, I mean, there's not even a lot of hugging. There's not a lot of, in the Sea Org specifically, you don't run around gratitude and all that is just not part of it. It's more about being effective. What can what can you get done? That kind of a thing. And then it's not usually followed up with a, that's so great that you did that. Never, just never. Oh my goodness. So other than the tattoo that I'm getting, I think that, and then, planning these trips coming up, there's a lot that's going on, but I think it's going to be really fun for the channel as well, because you guys know I'm going to take all of you with me. And I think it'd be fun because I'm really interested in meeting some of the streamers and other people on YouTube and, what they do in their own areas, like behind the scenes. So I think that that's going to be a lot of fun. And especially when I'm in Clearwater, we could do that with a couple people. And I'm really going to work this time. The last time it was just all about enjoying as much fun as we could and just being together and being with Tony. Um, that just worked out, perfectly, even though we barely made it there. Do you remember that storm? We ended up being rerouted to
Oh,
Fort Lauderdale.
and then when we came to Minnesota, you paid us back.
Yeah, you guys had to be rerouted too to Rochester and then get back on the plane. It was
Yep.
crazy that both times there were these storms. We got off in Fort Lauderdale. Was it Fort
No,
Lauderdale?
Fort Myers.
Fort Myers, and then rented a car and then drove. What was it? 3 hours, two and a half,
Mhm.
3 hours
Through the storm.
through the storm. Yes, I forgot
Mhm.
about that part. At a certain point, it was like, oh, here's the storm. Yeah, it was Fort Myer. That's right. But at least it happened. It fast. It moved by fast. Um, oh, I didn't know that, Jersey Jan. Being Jewish, tattoos aren't allowed. I didn't know that. Well, I'm a bad little Jewish girl. What can I say? I didn't know that. I did not know that. Mox says we joked about putting some of my dad's ashes into the lump of coal I have in the tattoo with the river of gold. It would be an amazing pun. Oh, totally it would. All right, everybody. I, mainly wanted to come on here tonight and acknowledge this and share it with you and let you guys know that it's rough, but I'm okay. And, I'm going to be okay. And I've got some things coming up that I'm looking forward to that is all part of the plan. And I'm excited because these are going to be a lot of firsts for me. I've never done a road trip by myself. And, I'm going to be doing a little bit of a road trip next week by myself. That'll be a first time. And, so many of these firsts coming up. And I am excited about it because that's something too that Tony and I did a lot of. He always made a big deal out of anything I did for the first time, the first time of so many things. That was his thing. He just really celebrated first. First were really important to him. And then they became important to me. You're right. Original Anne is only rough because my Tony was so
Mhm.
special. Yeah, very true. Very true. Thank you so much, Bella. Thank you so much, Susan. And you're right, Dip. It's all those baby steps. And yeah, celebrate what you did today. Today was a crazy day. It was such a roller coaster. Right before I went on my live this morning, I mean, you guys could probably tell too when I did the live. Like my eyes have been puffy for 2 months, but they were really puffy this morning because I was crying. Like that's why I was late, and I almost just wasn't going to do it, but I wanted to do it. And like I said, that Nancy had said, you know, do it. And if you're a mess, you're a mess, whatever. And I'm like, that's right. And it was okay. I actually made it through. I made it through the recap and was able to do it. And Amy, thank you. Mostly thank you all of you guys for being here and celebrating this with me. Our Baker, or repurpose the Speedo into a hairband or scrunchies or something that you could use on a regular basis. That's a fun idea too.
Well, if you have two pair.
That's true. If I have two pair, Anne says, celebrate the trip today and every step you take, Natalie. Yes. And I want to. And that's what he and I talked about. I'm turning 54. It's not like I have 10 years to get my shit together and start engaging in life again. We talked about to try to do that as soon as I could and as a way to celebrate him as well, because that's what he wanted for me, was to go get out there and try things and figure out what it is that I like and what I want to do now that I'm not in a cult. I'm not raising children. And as Tony put it, you're not taking care of me. I never really saw it that way. I felt like we took care of each other. Even as sick as he was, the man still wanted to feed me. He still wanted to make food. He still was showing me love. Um, he just gave and gave until the very end, and he still is to a degree. I think he is. All right, everybody. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here. Tomorrow is Saturday. I'll be doing the recap probably at 11 a.m. Central Time because I go a little bit later on Saturday. So I will see you guys there if you can make it on the live. Sandy, thank you for being here with me. It
Thank you
was
for having me.
yes, it was feeling very difficult. The more I thought about it, it was giving me some anxiety to, sit here by myself, even though all of you are here. Um, yeah, I reached out to Sandy and I'm like, can you just do this with me? Because I don't want to sit there by myself.
I don't know that I was much help.
Hugely help, huge help, huge help, huge help. You helped my confidence. You were my Speedo, Sandy McKenna. Yes. So thank you again, everybody. I will see you tomorrow. I hope everybody get out there and have a fabulous cult free evening.